part of the portion of the headworks today. Unfortunately, I am not the world's best speaker, so please, if you have questions about anything that I've said, poke me a couple of times, or just, raise your hand and yell. My name is Susan. Does everybody have one of these handouts? Yes. All righty. Thanks so much for answering. You probably have been through some training before where they gave you an overview of the Scada system. Scada stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. Basically, it's your window into the plant without actually being in the plant. So if you wanted to know what was going on in any part of the plant that we were connected to, you could just click on that area of the plant and go there. Okay? Before you can do any of that, however, you have to be able to log in, and I'm sure everybody here who has used this computer system already has been assigned a name and a password, and they all know what they are, and you're not supposed to share them or anything else. Correct?
Correct.
All right.
Yes. Well, Nicholas here.
So you guys, we can probably skip over part of the system login information. Now, I'm using a client that is locally loaded. I don't have access to the entire plant here. I'm only giving you, this is a copy of the program that I picked up on Monday, so the data in here is about 2 days old. None of the numbers will be moving or anything, as opposed to what would happen in the real world where you'll see levels jumping up and down and that type of thing. Also, because I'm working off of a computer client rather than the OIT, which is the operator interface terminal, the little screen in front of the panel where you don't have a keyboard or a mouse and you just have to push on the screen, this will not show you the keyboard that pops up whenever you have to put in text. Just so everybody's aware of that, it's a little bit different. This is what you would see in the new control room or the old control room when we put in a node there. The way this has been set up, every screen has certain features to it that are common throughout. I'm just going to touch basically on the various parts of the Scada system so that we can skip through here and get to the parts that actually deal with the East Headworks. Common features are there's always some kind of a title bar across the top. This happens to be the main menu. If you go to any of the other screens, you'll see that there is your logo, the bird, in the top left corner. Anytime you click on that bird, it brings you back to that main menu. Okay, so if you get into a screen that you've never seen before and you don't know what to do, look for the bird, get back to the main menu. You won't break anything that way. Not that you'll break anything anyway, but also every screen or every area of the plant has an overview portion. As I said, I don't speak very well, so I'm sorry. Has an overview portion that you get an overview of that area of the plant that you're looking in. No, I'm just giving you something that's not in here yet. I'm just giving you basic Scada information. You don't have to shuffle through the pages too quickly. What this does is it gives you access to information that's only for that area of the plant. And from here you can drill down to other screens that get you into specifics, such as screw conveyors or roll-off containers or grit chain and bucket grit conveyors and that, or grit washers, that type of thing. So every part of the Scada system is built this way. So if you were to do this for the primary settling tanks, you'd find that they have an overview screen. If you were to do this for the disinfection, it would have an overview screen, etc. So these are just common features that I'm trying to point out to make it easier for you guys to navigate through the screens. Again, you have this button up top here. You also have the user log on or log out buttons up here. This is how you would sign in. You click the user, you would put in your username and password. When you get done with that, you click OK. I'm just going to cancel because I'm already logged in. If I wanted to log out, you would see this screen, which is a screen that you quite often will come across in the OITs after nobody's been there for a couple of hours. At that point, you would just, again, normally on the little OIT down below, you would click on this and it would pop up a little keyboard that you would then have to put your name and information in. But since I have a keyboard, I don't have that showing here. All right. Anytime, and again, this is still just overview stuff, so we'll get into the specifics in a moment, but anytime that you need to change a set point, you would click on the white box and it brings up the keypad. That is common through all of the computers, no matter if it's the OIT or if it's one of the actual computers. You would just basically need to put in whatever your new set point is that you want to put in, and when you're finished with that, you need to click the download key. If you just use update field, all it does is show you a different number locally. It doesn't actually change the set point. So make sure, this is something I really don't like about this system, and I probably shouldn't say that, but you have to hit the download key. They show you 3 keys just to confuse you. Ignore the other 2. Download is the one you want. Now we can start with the overviews. Okay. Starting on page 10. This is your East Screen Grit and East Screen and Grit overview screen. From here, you can access various parts of the plant, from the blowers to the bar screens to the grit collection system, the roll-off containers, the odor control center, and the septage receiving. The diesel generator, you will be able to get information on, but there is nothing that you need to interact with. All it will give you is monitoring as far as what its status is, if it's running, if it's in standby, if it's if you've lost power or anything else. You'll get alarms popping up on the screens, but you don't actually have any control over that. And if I go too fast, please stop me, slow me down.
The slide gates, they're not indicated, Susan, will they be?
The slide gates for which portion?
On and off the influence control bar screens?
They are actually
Yes,
shown here in the bar screen itself. But back to the overview.
Are you gonna click on the area that you're looking for?
Exactly.
And then that will come up.
Exactly. This is only going to give you
The overview.
information on things that you can't get locally or specifically deep down into the system. We have the H2S and the LEL readings here displayed because those kind of fit more with the overview of the system. And if you go into the set points area for this screen, you'll find that these are your LEL and H2S alarm set points that you're putting in. Now, you guys have worked with the Scada system before, so you're somewhat familiar with these screens, or should I get into some nitpicky stuff here?
We've done it many times.
Maintenance hasn't logged in very much, but ops, has everybody in ops here logged in before?
Okay, I just wanted to gauge how much information I need to throw out there. Also, if there are any alarms, first of all, you can see them flashing here at the bottom. These are just alarms that are local to me. These are not plant-wide alarms. If there were an alarm that were local to me, you would see a little red box show up that says high alarm, low alarm, something like that, right near the piece of equipment that it is alarming. And we will actually show that a little bit further down in the screens. There are currently 5 subscreens to this overview screen, and they are the bar screens, the grit collection, the roll-off container, well, this is kind of part 2 with the wash press here, the odor control system, the septage receiving system, and the blowers. Okay, you can see how there's a little white box that shows up to highlight the area so you know where it is that you're going to. So you don't have to, say, drill down from this level to, you don't have to go through like 3 other screens to get to specific information. If you want to go from here straight to the roll-off container, all you have to do is click right on the roll-off container and it brings that up. Back to the overview. We're going to start here today with the East Screening Removal System. This is page 11. This particular screen displays status information for the bar screens, gives you operation of those bar screens if you are in remote. Now everybody knows what I mean when I say in remote, right? You have a handoff auto switch out in the field. If you're in hand, you're actually running the machine. If you're in off, you've got the machine off. If you have it in auto, we've got control of the machine for the most part. Now, this gets a little confusing because sometimes when you're in auto, you can run it in hand mode from the computer, or you can run it in automatic mode from the computer. So trying to keep the autos and manuals separate, we've now called the switch out in the field a local off remote switch, meaning you either have local control off or in remote, which would be us. That way when you're in remote auto, that means that you're controlling it automatically through the Scada. If you're in remote manual, that means that you're controlling it manually through the Scada. Okay, that's usually a little confusing, but every piece of equipment shows a status if it has a handoff auto in the field. It'll either show you that it's in local or it'll show you that it's in remote. And if it is in local, you can look at it, but you can't actually do anything to it. On the other hand, if it's in remote, you can bring up the control screen for it. Okay. Also on this screen, you would be able to see any alarms that have occurred. If you have an alarm on, say, the screen itself where you have an overload, it would show a little red box. It says overload inside. If any piece of equipment is running, it is moving in some fashion as far as there's red and black alternating, blinking off and on. If it's not running, it's showing green. Okay. In a few minutes, when we get through all the major screens, I'll show you exactly what it means by forcing different things to happen in the program. Okay, so you'll see the difference about what they look like. Okay, first thing we're going to look at for control on this is sluice gate, bar screen, screenings, belt conveyor. I'm on the wrong one. Page 12, yes. Because you have 2 different bar screens showing, you have 2 different bar screens to control. It'll bring up 2 screens that look very, very similar, but they're actually different. One controls one screen, one controls the other screen, one controls one channel, one controls the other channel. Okay, so if you happen to have the wrong screen up and you're clicking on things and nothing's happening where you expect it to be happening, make sure you have the right control screen up. On a screen like this, you have control of the actual equipment if it is in remote. On something like the sluice gate here, where you have an open, stop, and close, your open and close are in red, your stop is in green. If you want it to stop before it's fully open or fully closed, which we would call in the traveling position, you can stop it in the mid of its stride. This particular piece of equipment does not have an automatic function. This is strictly manual control from the Scada system. So you can open it, you can close it, you can stop it midway in between. Once that's done, you have no other options except to open, close, or stop it.
When you stop it in midstream, will it tell you how far the travel it has occurred?
Actually, this one does not have a position feedback sensor, so no, it won't tell you.
We'll have no idea where it is.
Pretty much. But On
You
the,
can go
on
outside
this,
and look at the stem, you
Yeah.
can kind of
Yeah.
tell if it's board or half.
Well, it depends on where you want it to.
It's basically an isolation gate,
Mhm.
Yeah.
for most purposes, right?
it's either gonna be open or
It's
closed.
open or closed, I'm trying to think of why you might want it partially open, why might you want it partially open?
Maybe for maintenance reasons, if they have something.
And they could do that outside too,
Right.
lows and lows.
Is there anything that indicates that it actually is open all the way or closed?
Yes,
Oh.
yes, there are limit switches on both the closed and the open. Right now, it's telling you the feedback status says
Yeah.
closed. Okay, so 2 days ago, it knew that it was closed.
It's still closed.
Well, hopefully. And again, this is not hooked up to the live system, so we're running with data that happened 2 days ago. On the influent bar screen, you have manual and automatic. Again, we had talked about the fact that this manual and automatic is different than the switch down below, which is your handoff auto. This only functions if the HOA is in remote, okay? Everybody with me so far? In the manual mode, you have start and stop options. What does that mean? It means you turn on the bar screen or you turn it off. It doesn't actually go into an automatic mode at that point. You're just either starting it and it's going to run until you tell it to stop, or you're stopping it. In the automatic mode, you click on automatic, see how the startup status changed to automatic, different color, all the information there. Again, you have start and stop buttons. The automatic actually has all this information down below. You're going to control it by either time or time and level. By time would be, you would have so much time that it needs to run and then so much time that it needs to be idle. Or you can have it go by time and level, meaning that if it would run like it were on time, but if the level before the bar screen or the bar screen differential level grew too high, it would then override the program. Instead of looking at time, it would turn on the bar screen rig and it would run until either the differential level had dropped and the time had, the amount of time that it needed to run had already expired, or if the level drops rapidly, then it will continue to run until the time expires, okay? So it's never gonna short cycle just because it's on a high level.
Now, is that on a constant, it's picking up the sensors in the channel constantly?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, it's not on a time basis where it's gonna pick up a reading every 10 minutes or whatever?
No, it's you have two right here, indications of level. And right now, well, 2 days ago, they were reading 6.4 and 6.5.